Therefore, the Bill 21 says referencing is the practice of acknowledging in an academic text the intellectual work of artists, work that has been formally presented in the public domain and is still accessible in some way. While citation refers to the presentation of a source in the body of the text, and referencing or body bibliography refers to the full list of presented sources at the end of the work. So, without wasting our time, currently we have the widely used sites which are common to us. We have the APA, the LA, Modern Language Association, Chicago, again, the MHRA, Modern Humanities Research Association, and occasionally the following sites are used: ACS, American Chemical Society; AGCN, Australian Guide to Legal Citation; AMA, that is American Medical Association; CSCB, that is Council for Science and Biology Editors; the IEEE, that is Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers; then Harvard, and last but not the least, provided to labor for Cuba. These are distinguished participants. At this point, may I request that we take, permit me to organize the presence once again of the Dean of Education, Professor Ahmadu, who is currently represented by the Assistant Dean for Education, Professor G.L. It is also important that we organize the presence of, as far as this workshop is concerned, our resource persons. Before the resource person, the chairman, Postgraduate Workshop Series Committee, Dr. H. Mohammed, that is Ahmadu. In anticipation, also organize the presence. It's not a job that's set to the revenue. So the deputy dean postgraduate cognitive education, that is PG, Professor Dr. S. Akoro. So I was welcome to my second. Now to the resource person. Our resource person one is Dr. YF Zaria, whose workshop session is one and whose presentation is on practical data analysis. Yeah. The second resource person is Dr. Ali Lawan, whose presentation is referencing and citation techniques. Of course, it is very important or necessary to acknowledge the presence of the supporters of this workshop. You know, economy dictates the whole truth. They are a little large, but we have the National Food, Beverages and Tobacco Products, the UBA, United of Africa, First Bank, Infinix, Center for Girl Child Education, and our own Institute of Development Research and Training, IDRT, our Bello University. So with this, the I request that you please take a minute or two to pray according to the picture of our individual faith to commit this workshop in the hand of Allah for His guidance. Let us pray. Amen. I will sorry for God's guidance. The army of the Saturday request that we please pay allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the University. Zaria, by Zaria, the anthems. So, may you please slide for the Ashara, followed by the Amen.
Please be seated. The Dean, Faculty of Education, Professor Abdullahi Alhaju, ably represented by the Assistant Dean, Professor G.L. Lipo, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, may I strictly comply with the program of this workshop. And by doing so, I would like to invite for his welcome address the Chairman, Postgraduate Workshop Series Committee,
the Chairman, Postgraduate Workshop Series Committee, Dr. H. Ahmadu. Please put your hands together.
Thank you very much, MC. The Dean, Faculty of Education, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Ahmadu, who is here ably represented by the Assistant Dean Undergraduate, as well as Professor Idado Lawal Liko, distinguished professors from the Faculty of Education, members of the Faculty of Education workshop, Dr. Abba, Dr. Abdu, Dr. Ahmadu, the representative of the Center for Girl Child Education, our esteemed Faculty of Education postgraduate students. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Haruna Muhammad, as rightly announced by the MC. I serve as the chairman of this noble workshop committee. I would like to use this opportunity to welcome everyone to this important academic and intellectual engagement, which is a workshop organized by the Faculty of Education with a view to expanding the frontiers of knowledge and understanding in the area of research. Specifically this time around, we have selected areas that are giving our postgraduate students considerable difficulty. Talking about quantitative data analysis. You see, over the years, it has been observed that many of our students, and even some of our colleagues, are having a lot of challenges when it comes to analyzing data. Some students will be very efficient at the introductory level, at the literature review level, and then at the point of data analysis, people have issues. And this is what informed the fact that a workshop should be organized with a view to training our postgraduate students and our colleagues with hands-on skills on how to use this data. And we have carefully handpicked academics and intellectuals that will do justice to that area. Dr. Zaria, it will interest you to know that he's a mathematician of international reputation. He has a first class in mathematics, and then he achieved a lot of academic and intellectual heights in his career. So he is the one to do justice to that session of data and hands-on data analysis. And then the next presenter is Dr. Ahmadu, who is a distinguished intellectual and academic of international reputation too. He's going to talk about references. We are at the age when, after conducting your research, it is pertinent that you do it ethically in a way that the problem of plagiarism is avoided. So he's going to teach us how to do referencing, in the in-text, and he's going to do justice to that so that we improve our theory and practice in the area of research. Your coming to this workshop is a testament that you have understood the relevance of this workshop and the need for us to be more professional in our various fields of endeavor. But this wouldn't have been possible without the foresight of our friend, our senior colleague and a mentor, Associate Professor Nuruddin Korede. This is the first initiative in the Faculty of Education where a workshop series are organized. And he has come up with this idea that we have to, in the spirit of professionalism, continue to organize intellectual discourses so much so that we keep our postgraduate students and our colleagues abreast with the current research ethics, current skills, current knowledge in tandem with global best practices. I think we'd like to most sincerely appreciate Korede for this initiative, and we want to assure you that this initiative has come to stay. We shall quarterly, every quarter, organize, trainings and workshops, and areas that we observe are giving our students difficulties. We shall continue to organize workshops so that we broaden our horizon and expand our frontiers of knowledge. So that the aim is that you would finish your research in good time, you graduate in good time, not only graduated in good time, but also acquire the requisite research, knowledge and skills that you will guide and serve humanity. Okay, that's the essence. Not just graduating with PhDs and masters, but then graduating with those skills that are needed for an individual to have professional progression and expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, without too much waste of time, I would like to welcome you all and urge you to listen attentively and pay attention to every segment and every word, every sentence of our presenters, because they are going to do justice to whatever they are going to do. And we are also joining you to learn in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and you are all welcome. I would like to take this opportunity to declare this workshop open. You are all welcome. Thank you.
I think the chairman deserves much more glory things. When you look at the trustees committee, I also thank for the protocol established for the associate prof. Ahmadu. Wow. Let's take open the remarks by no other but the Dean, the Deputy Postgraduate Education, Associate Prof. Nuruddin S. Ahmadu.
Thank you, sir.
Every representative I call Diana, Dr. Diego, my able chairman, my friend. The members of the committee, I wouldn't know if you permit to mention very dedicated individuals who have been very supportive. Dr. Ahmadu, Dr. Anza, and my own very friend, this one, my other, who was managing the players, my very friend, Dr. Ahmadu. This round of applause for him. I want to appreciate the all members of our present yesterday. There are certain number of persons or individuals that are very consistent with ensuring that we give full support to whatever initiatives that bring up in the faculty. I thank you for coming, please. The round of applause for me. I welcome you home, like the chairman mentioned. My chairman was supposed to give a welcome address. The right to declare the workshop open reserved for me. So I do the declaration from Dr. Aaron. Because he entered into my day, I want to enter into his day too by welcoming you all to this workshop, dear students. The quest for knowledge is something that is continuous, and grasping of such concepts can actually happen at very different forums. It is a fact that we are being taught to research in classrooms, but getting bits and pieces from some other for such as this one, in order for us to strengthen our research knowledge. I want to digress a bit to appreciate the who gave me a teaser. Thank you for your like the chairman mentioned earlier, the topic of discussion for today is very deliberate. I want to take you back for those of you who were with us last year, when we had a very first town hall meeting of PhD students. I don't this time last year. We had that meeting to identify specific problem that is presented in our postgraduate education and faculty education in Zaria. It was at that point that we resolved that we are going to be having a content workshop in order to strengthen our research knowledge. True to that, 30th of March, we had the first series of the PG Research Workshop 1.0. Because of our commitment to the ideals of ensuring that we do what is best for us, we have chosen to give you a 2.0. I'm happy to inform you that just like the chairman promised, this will not stop. We will continue to ensure that you bring to your table issues that are serious and are very naughty in terms of the society so that we can solve the problem for us. President analysis, I was just discussing with the about we are willing to give as much time as we can for him, as much as 1 hour, 15 minutes, for him to explore all the areas that is needed for us to grab something and go into. So that note that I want to appreciate Dr. Wayne Zaria, who will be on the first session on practical data analysis. For those of us who are in the business of peace supervision, it is no gainsaying that this area is one of the areas our students struggle with. Unfortunately for us, I want to say this by drawing my mind. It is actually also a problem for some of us who are academics. And that is why it is very important for us to go through this, not just as students, but also as staff of the faculty. Another very important area is the reference and citation techniques, which will be anchored by one of us who actually had a study in areas related to this in Finland. Dr. Ahmadu, please round of applause. Today we are going through international scholars, individuals who are foreign studies, who knows their audience locally and have seen source outside this country. I want to welcome the Center for Graduate Education. Please stand up for recognition, please. Please, thank you. They give us the reason to believe that we can actually scale up these to a very greater heights. While I'm talking, Professor Ahmadu, the head of the department, Arts and Social Science Education, walked in. Please, a hand of applause. As part of the events of today, we shall be unveiling 5 individuals who are going to be commissioned as the Center for Bello Education Researchers during the program that shall come. The Center for Bello Education, in collaboration with the Ahmadu University of Education, have a memorandum of understanding that has culminated into identifying researchers who are going to work. Most society work are going to focus on the ideals and core issues of Center for Bello Education. In addition to this, the Center for Bello Education, we also have the opportunity of getting or enlisting the support of various many organizations who have promised to be part of our program. I think the representative is up there, and I hope those guys are here. We have the National Union of Food and Beverages Company. Please have a lot of them. We have the First Bank Nigeria Limited. We have United Bank for Africa. We have Infinix Mobile. Thank you for your support. This is part of our efforts to ensure that we meet the town and the ground together in order for us to have a more prosperous academic life. As we listen to our facilitators, I want you to pay our attention. I want you to be focused on what they're doing, and I want you to gain a lot from this so that moving forward, we can all say within ourselves that this program has been impactful enough for us to gain one or two things. Thank you, and God bless you as this.
Thank you, President of OES Authority. Now, specifically the participants, I am ready to understand and share
the information with you that the last the workshop that took place before this one the certificates are ready for correction. And the current workshop taking place now, the certificate and the workshop is going to be ready at the end of the workshop. So you are expected to make payment and correct your copy. That is at the rare extension of this form at the end of this workshop. Thank you very much. Now, the technical session. Mr. Chairman, with your kind permission, may I most respectfully invite our first resource person, whose presentation is about practical data analysis, to come and do justice to this topic. So I would like to invite Dr. Y.F. Zaria, or Associate of Y.F. Zaria, to talk about this. Thank you, sir.
Shift the system. Shift the system so that we can capture your face.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good morning, everybody. The Faculty of Education, the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, ABU Zaria, ably represented by our own Assistant Dean, Dr. Liko. Then the Chairman of the Faculty Workshop Series, Dr. Arun, the Deputy Dean, Faculty of Education. I try to record this using Zoom. Hopefully, the video of the screen will be available later, apart from the monitor and YouTube. So let's get into it. With these videos, the foundations and data setup, basically what is data and some variables and some kind of home keeping, so to say. You know, when you're expecting the visitor in your house, you try to make sure you make some arrangement here and there. Those pillows, put them in, those slots on the chair, keep them inside, sit before and stuff like that. So we are going to do that here. We do some parametric tests, some parametric tests, and we'll see how that will go. All right, so let's start with our own key, the foundation part. We talk about variables. Of course, we are modeling variables, we are modeling variances, we are modeling the parameters of population or the statistics of the sample. So we look at variables, either dependent variable or independent variable. So the variable you manipulate, the variable you can call as. Okay. So, okay, instead I should stand in one place. You know, as a teacher, we move around the class. So, but I will try to comply and see how that will go. So look at independent and dependent variables. So, independent you manipulate, and then you can call the cause, or in some cases they call it predictor or something. While the dependent variables, they are the ones who are checking the effect of the independent variable on them. And we really should do something here. And to be more technical, or to be frank enough, when we say dependent and independent variables, these terms, they are peculiar to experimental research. Take note of that. When we say independent variable or dependent variables, they are peculiar to experimental research. So long as the research is not experimental, that question should not come in. The question of which variable, so you are forgetting that I say one place. So that question should not come in. So if your research is correlational, you can talk about a predictor variable and action variable. And at times you can have a research question, a research topic in which the variable may not fall into these categories. So we should be very careful. Not every research that is either independent and dependent, it's not every research one. So take note of that. Then we about continuous variable and discrete variable. So continuous, so we can add it on continuous scale. So the score from 0 can take any value. While the discrete variable, that can be categorical, which can be nominal or ordinal. So we just touch these things at surface so that we can have time to deal with important things. So we look at the levels of measurements of variables. The level of measurements of variables. So, okay. So this is 4 levels in education. We'll stick to this. The nominal level, that's just for identification purpose. Okay, 1 for male, then 2 for female. Isn't it? That is numeric values that are assigned to attributes. In this case, the attribute is gender, either male or female. 1 for male, then 2 for female. So because 1 is less than 2, it does not mean a male is less than a female. Isn't it? Because the assignment of this numbers we are talking about is just for identification purpose. That is nominal. And because 2 is greater than 1, it does not mean that a female is greater than a male. And even in some culture, the other way around, 2 females will give you 1 man. Sorry, the women but that's just right here. Alright, so then we have the ordinal. Apart from the identification purpose, we also have a kind of ranking in there. Ranking. Okay? So that is the ordinal variable. For instance, the Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So when you assign 1 to strongly disagree, and then you assign 2 to agree, there is something in there. 2 is greater than 1. So to agree, you may say it's better than to disagree. At least for peacefully. Isn't it? Just agree for peacefully. It's okay. So that means in the interval scale, so where the measure is continuously now, is no longer categorical. Nominal and ordinal, they are both classified as categorical, while interval and ratio, they are both classified as continuous. The main difference between ratio and interval is the fact that the ratio has absolute 0. If you assign ratio interval, it means that attribute does not exist. So a ratio, okay? So for instance, the height of something, if the height is 0, that the attribute itself is 0. But that is not the case for performance. We must say this. People mistaking performance at times for ratio, but no, performance stands as interval. Because when you assign 0 to a student on a test, it does not mean the student don't do anything. Does not mean the student don't do anything. Because that the student was unfortunate in the exam and couldn't fight what he wrote. So take note of that. Alright, so I would say that there are some definitions Like distribution function, just take this as kind of arrangement, orderly arrangement of data sets, and then we look at population. Usually in education, we model the population using the sample. Most of our research, you cannot access the entire population. Rather, we take the representative sample, study this, do all our statistics, different to the population. We do that. Then look at some statistics. Okay, like I said this. Remember, your children in primary school, you have some kind of what's it for primary, where they say as A is to B, so also is C is to D. In this case, we say parameter population as statistics are to sample. Parameters are to what? Population, statistics are to sample. So when you are talking about the population, you talk about the parameters of population. We have the mean of population is a parameter. Standard deviation of population is a parameter. Variance of population is a parameter. But when you come to the sample, mean of the sample is statistic. Variance of the sample is statistic. And so on and so on. We have different symbols to represent them. Okay, you see that sigma over there. So the sigma square is variance. That is variance of the population is the parameter. If the variance of the sample is going to be small than s squared. Standard deviation is the sigma without the square. For the population, it's a parameter. But that of the sample is smaller than s. Take note of that. Okay, maybe we are almost through with the house again. Then we look at some foundational data architecture in which you should take note of. You see, in data analysis, the very first thing after coming back from your main study or from your pilot study or pilot testing of instrument, getting your data into Excel from paper if you are using the paper version. If you are using the electronic version, you can download the Excel from any software you use for you may still need to clean that. So you edit, you record some things that you don't properly know, and then you clean it, getting ready for analysis. So before now, our professors they used to use their hand to calculate some statistics. They will use hand to do t-tests. I once a student from this university where my lecturer used hand to calculate the t-value of t-test. That was, that era is gone. You went only one exam for 2 hours, especially when the sample size are not the same. You know that was very classic. T-test, you sweat. So, but we have passed that stage now. So we have passed that stage. Like I tell my students, we only focus on the conceptual knowledge. Because the judging work now, SPSS reads for us, not by clicking some buttons. And that is fair. I mean, for our PhD students, they like that. They don't want to use the hand to do mathematics again. So we are kind of demathematizing statistics. Excellent. So let us somehow first look at SPSS. Maybe I can read this now. Look, SPSS looks like this. Can you see? For those that are familiar to Excel, this one looks like Excel. This is SPSS environment. And we have 2 views in this environment. We have the data view, that's where this is data view. Any data you are using, this is where we come. Then we have the variable view. So this is where you declare your variables, in which you must have the variable name, the type of the variable, the weight, decimals, and so on and so forth. Just a quick one, the variable name will be gender. It's one of the most research variables in education, gender. You see, I just type in gender and I click on tab. Every other part is populated automatically. If this automatic population is not good for you, you can edit them. For instance, in gender, you can see on that type, it shows numeric. That means I'm going to enter numbers and not letters, either 1 or what, or 2. Then the width is about the size of what I want to type. The decimals, usually for gender, we focus on categorical variable. You don't need decimal points. This way you can set it to 2 decimal points. You can set this to 0 decimal points. Just by anything like that, determine the label, gender, okay, of the students. Gender of the students. This is the label. In case you forget, you can go back to that. Gender of the student. So you see this now. One thing I was mentioning about the variable name is that space is not allowed. There are a lot of characters they are not allowed. I think only underscore is allowed. So take note of that. Then now value is very important in every variable declaration. This is where you tell explicit what your numeric values represent. So here I want to say one. You type value one here. One is for male. One is for male. Then you click on add. Then another value two. The two is for female. All right. Then you click on add and you click on OK. So whenever you go back to your data view, which you go back there, when you enter one, SSS will read it as what? A male. When you enter two, it will read it as what? A female. Okay. Now, missing, if you want to declare it, and I don't want to, and then you come to the last part here, the measure. Okay? The measure. You can see you have three options here. Unlike the 4 levels of measurement I showed you, 3 options. Either a scale, ordinal, or what? Nominal. I once said it just a few minutes ago that gender is going to be what? Nominal. Excellent. So you click on nominal. So you see the scale you have there is for both interval and ratio. Both interval and ratio are classified as scale in SPSS. Perfect. We have described our variable. You can go back to the data view. You can see gender has come up here now. It was not there before. So you can enter your 1, 2, your 1, 2, your 2, 1, your 1, 2. Let's see that those 5 students, and 3 of them are males, and 2 of them are females. Maybe you forgot it. You can easily check to know what exactly this number represents. Let me make this smaller. This is government business. Okay. So here, look at this 1 and 8. If you click on that, you can see we now have male, female, there was male, female. This is showing you what the attributes, the numbers, the attributes that they are hiding from you. So you can go back to the numbers, you can switch between numbers and the attribute. Then you will find that. Since we are working here, we can go back to our slides. Let's slide this, and then let me open this. So we just slide this, and we are fine. Now again, we'll set up the variable view. So this is variable level. We cover this. Then, what if you have the data already from the SPSS or from your online survey electronic version that you use? You want to import or you want to open that particular data set. So you go back and do that. So that's what we call import or you open it. So let's simply do that for the data set already stored here. This is my SPSS environment. I want to open an existing data set which I already stored on my computer. So you want to import it. You can import from Excel, you can import from CSV file. In this case, I want to import from CSV file. This particular data set will be available to you after the workshop. So you can come to file up there, open the data. So with this, I will navigate to where you store the data. I've also my data as Sumedia. Yes, so I want to open Sumedia. That's where I open. Is anybody against Sumedia? Anybody? Everybody here against Sumedia? I think I'm saying the whole way. Without the Sumedia, so maybe that's true. So we have Sumedia because this workshop, maybe somebody can keep track of counting for me. I will mention Sumedia for not less than 50 times. Not less than 50 times. So we don't know Sumedia. This is Sumedia. The data set. And you know the reason why I have to say. Okay, maybe I should just confess now. One of my daughters is living Sumedia. So don't think that. If that you don't think that. Don't think that. Alright. So here we are. This is the data set. Very large data set. We can look at what it contains. Alright? That's to do that, we are going to very review. You can see this very review. We have the school type, you have the gender, you have the SES, you have motivation, you have performance, you have admission status, you have motivation fee, and so on and so forth. Like I mentioned to you, I think almost all the data types are here. So the school type, when you come to values, you can know what the school type represents. One is for public school, two is for private school, then three is for mission school. Alright? So maybe for gender, of course, I like using one for male and two for females, that we are fine. And then we have the measures here on here. Excellent. So this is how to open an existing data set from the computer. Alright, so we proceed from where we stopped. Syntax command architecture and then descriptive modeling. You see, I was just pressing some buttons. If you like, you can write codes. Because you write that codes in an environment where we use it as a syntax. You write the code in syntax form. Then you run the code. But in this case, maybe those who are in computer science or those in STEM education, they are not familiar with codes. They may like it. When the joint of us that are not from that field, we just use our buttons the way we press our phone and press buttons on our phone. So that is what this section is all about. So the good thing about the syntax is that you can replicate it. You can use it over and over again. If you use the menu bar on the SPSS, now every time you want to run the analysis, you have to be going through the process. So that's just basic things about that. All right. Hello, Sumaya. We have Sumaya as an undergraduate student. Sumaya just coming up. Another graduate student at Ahmadu University. Then got fortunate to be in science education, and then the supervisor approved this topic for her. An investigation into gender differences, you are able to represent it. An investigation into gender differences in motivation to learn among secondary school students, Zaria, Metropolis, Kaduna State, Nigeria. This is an amazing topic that Sumaya was doing an undergraduate project on. She wants to venture into looking at the gender differences in student motivation. Are men more motivated than the female? Is there any significant difference in the motivation of males as compared to females? Very simple research, very nice and straightforward. Maybe for supervisors for this, your students can venture, or the researchers from the case, the CG, so they can look into some of this. Okay? Maybe I just want you to you see all of this. So, the lady, she has collected the data that is a well-defined instrument, well-validated for measuring motivation as a construct without minding the dimensions. Sumaya collected that data. You know, motivation scale is going to be from somebody disagreed to somebody a kind of ordinary. At the end of the day, when you give the questionnaire, 20 items to the respondent, they are going to choose somebody agreeing to somebody disagreeing on each of the items. Then you score them by adding the scores on each item together to get a score for that particular student. You see that transformation of adding the scores on each item to get a simple score for that student has converted that level of measurement from ordinary to continuous. Take note of this. This is a misconception which perhaps you are going to clear today. People may say, oh, as soon as you mention motivation, they will say non-parametric, they will say ordinary. And when you say performance, they will say that is parametric or that is continuous. No, it is not so. Especially when you use multiple choice to measure performance. What happens? It's either 0 or 1. At which level? 2 levels. But when you at the end of the day, you have 40 items, you add all the ones together to get a score, a performance score for your students. That addition is a transformation that has transformed the ordinary to continuous. The same way with motivation, it has 7 levels, 5 levels, far better than performance. Initially at level 5, it is ordinary, but by the time you add all the scores together to get the simple one, that transformation has transformed that particular data set from ordinary to continuous. This is very important. So, and that is why it makes sense to talk about the needs, the standard deviation of motivation data set. So, Vesmaya, you just want to know little descriptive statistics, how many males are there, how many females are there. There you have this. Okay? So, let us see that. Or maybe before we see that, let us take the next slide so I will be able to together at the same time. Also again, research question. Before I come to research question, let's do this. Okay. Now we go back to Sumaya. This is Sumaya, the data set. She just wants to know how many males are there, how many females are there. You just want to analyze. Number of males, number of females, the kind of frequency counts. Then you come to descriptive statistics. Then you click on frequency, the first one there. That is frequency. Then you add this dialog box. The test male I want is the gender. And then you use this arrow to move it to variable. This one will give you the descriptive statistics and the frequency category. So maybe you see one some other things there. Alright? But this one we will not need this for now. You continue. Maybe you want to be in bar charts so that we can see which one is taller. I like this. Or you want pie charts, or you want histogram. Any of them can work for you. That is frequency form. Then you just click on OK. Then another window will open for you. This is the output window. So in the output window, you have 141 students from the first table. Among them, you have 70 males and then 71 females. The percentage count, and then you have the histogram here, and you have the bar charts here, telling you they are roughly the same height, the same number. Number of males, just one. So this is just basic description of the data set. But this does not count in another direct research. Rather, we need to answer the research question. The research question says, what is the difference in motivation to learn mathematics among male and also say between male and female secondary school students? We want to know whether there is any difference in their ability in Nigeria. You see, the SSS parts to do that, to get the mean, the standard deviation and the likes is what is written there under the line. So you have to follow this through. When you are after this workshop, you want to partialize this. That part, what I is what we are going to use. Analyze descriptive statistics, explore dependent names, and then so on and so on. I will demonstrate that right away. Okay? Alright, so very good. So we go back to so you want to know the difference between the mean of the two groups. You come to analyze, alright? Then you click on descriptive statistics, alright? Then you click on explore. You want to use explore because now we have two groups. We have the one variable with male and female as gender. Then we also have another variable which is motivation, and that is continuous. So you click on explore. Then motivation will be in your dependent list. So motivation will be in your dependent. You can see student motivation here. So we just throw it there. Then gender will be in your factor. So gender, click on gender and then put it in your factor. So you can explore this to add more color to what you need. Descriptive to find to give us the mean standard deviation. And then also need some plots, the bar charts and stuff like that. And maybe I should remove this stem and leave for now. Let's leave the plot one. So look at this. Normality plots will test. Let us read that until we get to impression statistics. Then say continue. give me both the statistics and the plots. So that is why you have these both. Alright? Then you click on OK. So when you click on OK, you have some tables, some relevant and irrelevant outputs. I will say it like that. So the first table is about the distribution, which we have seen before. While the second table is about the descriptive statistics. Now see, the mean for male is 69.91. The mean motivation for males. You can see 90% confidence. They actually don't use it. 5% really, you don't use it. Yeah? You have the median, the variance, standard deviation. These are given to you. Then you have the minimum, the maximum, the range, the quarter range, the skewness, and the ketosis. All these are given to you to describe that data. You only extract the information you need and put it in your chapter 4. Okay, for those that are writing their thesis. Then for the females, you also have the females here. So telling us about their needs and the other respective statistics. Then you have the box plots. So the box plot is part and parcel of describing your data. It's not every time that you describe your data using tables. You can use the box plot and you can see from here. Look, you can see from here, the box is higher than what? For the female, telling you that the mean of the males is higher than the mean of the female. And most of the males, they have higher scores as compared to the female. So this diagram will show you that, and we'll see coming to more interesting one. If you want the table, you can now extract this and come out with the chapter 4. But usually, like I advise students, in answering your research question, it is preferred that you use the basis of charts instead of tables. Leave the tables to hypothesis testing. At the level of the research question, you are communicating with professionals, you are communicating with those people that don't understand statistics. So reading the table will be difficult for them. But when they see the chart, they can easily see themselves. That okay, this one is higher than this. Then definitely it means more males are more motivated than the females. So for that reason, I'm going to walk you through how to get a very interesting bar chart out of this data set. Let's look at it. For you to use bar charts, you can come to graphs. Graphs up there. I'm not sure that this is my notes, but it's very important. But we get the video that's not important. Then you come to the legacy dialogues. Under that, you click on bar charts. Then you choose the one you want, simple bar chart or your mind. Alternatively, you can still use these graphs. Then you see chart builders. Click on chart builders. There are two ways of teaching your slide. Then you say, okay, when you click on okay, this one is better because it gives you the gallery of almost all the charts available. So you can see the first one here is bar charts. You can see line graph. Usually we use line graph for investigating correlation. You have area plot, you have the scatter plot also for two variables continuous data. Then I want only bar charts. And I want the simple bar chart. So from here you click on the simple bar chart, you drag it and drop it in the you drag it and then you drop it in the gallery. So here it is in the gallery. Then the next thing we do is to put in our variables. We have the gender, then we have what? Motivation. The gender, which is just categorical variable, there we go to your x-axis. Alright, so you click on it, then you drag it into the x-axis. You can see male and female showing up already, looking at all. Then the motivation, so that will be on your y-axis, mathematics motivation, student motivation. So that will be on the y-axis. Then we have this here. Like I used to do, you can also have kind of error bars. You can display error bars, so kind of whiskers onto your bar charts. So I'm exposing my axe now, so don't worry. So it is free, courtesy of our deputy dean. Alright, so you can make it multiplier by standard deviation to be 1. Alright, then you click on apply, you can see whiskers showing up there. Can you see those whiskers? Then you can click on OK. Then the next thing, you have the bar chart showing up. Anybody can view this and see that, oh, definitely, males have higher mean than than the female. It has not ended yet. Let us do some nice coloration in there. You can double click on this chart. Now it depends on how skillful you are in designing something. I want to change the colors. This one, I can click it. I'm not sure if you see it very well. There is one yellow line. So that is showing you what is selected. You can see the yellow lines around the box is not on female. So I've only selected that of male. When you come to fill and border, maybe I like this color, or at least Maya will like it. Then we have like this. You pick the second one, okay? Just double tap. Then you can change the color too if you want. For those who don't make comics now, they will say I don't know color mixing. But it's okay. Let's take this. I don't know if they go together. So, so here we are. Then you have this. What's your deed? You have it. So beautiful. You put it on the paper, you put it in your chapter 4. It has more color to your business. Not just the dry table. The table is dry. But you also have our senior colleagues that they still want to see this main standard issue. You have no problem. You can superimpose the main standard deviation on this figure. Maybe for another, let's see. But you can do it. I can't tell you how to secret now. So when you do it, you have. So you can see it starts out like this. Then you have the boxes. When you do the knee, don't mind the soup base because the knee is standard deviation and the number for each of them. I can read from the here that the knee is 69.91 and the standard deviation is 8.11 for the males. While for the females, the knee is 47.71 and the standard deviation is 12.30. So the student have to draw the charts is given here. So people like the old method using the table, while using the pictorial representation as well as imposing the data. Excellent. So Sumaya just answered the research question. The storage option was happy. Now come to hypothesis testing. At this stage, you have to pause it. Before you venture into testing hypothesis, you need to explore your data. Ensure that your data satisfy the assumptions of parametric tests or otherwise. So we have three basic assumptions of parametric tests. Here's the one. Independent sample. The sample must be independent. In this case, automatically we have satisfied that assumption. Because we have males that are independent of what? Thank God in Nigeria, we have not reached that level of a male to be. Thank God. You have somebody who is after the devil anyway, you can relate to your students. So, but here in Nigeria, we have a male on, so the sample is very satisfied. We also need continuous data. The data set must be continuous. In this case, like I mentioned, the transformation we did to the ordinal variable by adding the scores together has given us the leverage to play that the data is now continuous. The last thing is normality assumption. Is the data set normally distributed? This one we have to test it. We have to test for that normality assumption. And that is what Sumaya did before Sumaya proceeded into hypothesis testing. The instruction how to do that in the next sentence is written at the bottom right corner here. So analyze the statistics, explore that you can now pick it. Let's go there. We go and read it again. Come here, we open our data sets, we say analyze, alright, the statistics, then what explore, alright, here, we just want to these statistics, we add, this one is okay, then we come to plots, we now check this, normality plots with text. Normality what? Plots with to text. So we can say okay, then you compose the plot and statistics, then click on OK. Before you know, so you can see, boom. It's like pressing your phone, boom. The analysis has stopped. If you want to use your hand to calculate all these statistics, you can spend 2 hours. For those who did statistics some years back, they can relate. Okay, here we are. We don't do this because we have seen them before. And the tested is this test of normality. We have 2 popular tests of normality. The Pomodoro sign up, and then you shall be weak. This one you don't have to bother about the names, SSS give you the names, SSS give you the statistics. Your own is to read and be able to interpret. Look at, for me, you look at this SIG, that is your P value. The P value is 0.200. It is what? 0.200. It is greater than the alpha value, 0.05. That means we will fail to reject the null hypothesis. You see, in normal testing, when you fail to reject the null hypothesis, it means your data set is normally distributed. We like that. Okay, when you fail to reject the null hypothesis in normality testing, it means your data set is normally, so for me, it's normally distributed. Overall, normally distributed, then Shaplowitz also 0.157. This one too is greater than 0.05. So again, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, let's come to the female. For the female, P value 0.038. 0.038 is less than 0.05. Isn't it? Excellent. From your elbow. So it's less than 0.05. In this case, you have to reject the null hypothesis. So according to Omotoro's, the data set for female is valid. It is not. What about Shaplowitz? Shaplowitz says the same thing. So you are now at borderline now. For the male, normally distributed. For the female, not normally. And you are analyzing both the males and the females. What is the result? Consult the supervisor. Suppose I'm a supervisor now, I'm taking parametry tests. And that's what Sumaya, that's what she did. Okay? She used parametric tests. Now, she has a kind of evidence to claim that the data set is normally distributed, and so all the assumptions of parametric tests, they are what? They are satisfied. We are still going to look at the other way. The supervisor didn't agree with her and asked her to use non-parametric tests. But for now, we are moving. Excellent. So we are done with hypothesis with a research question, and we are fully prepared for hypothesis testing. This message is that whenever you collect either for your main study or for your pilot study, those who do pilot study, after clearing your data, after answering your research questions, then you must explore your data and ensure the assumptions of what? Parametric tests. It is at that point you will now choose whether to use parametric tests or to use non-parametric tests. Not before. By implication, the research questions are meant to be answered by descriptive statistics. And basically, we are talking about mean, standard deviation, and charts. Mean, standard deviation, and chart. Don't use mean rank. Mean rank, by using mean rank, you are already assuming that the data set is not normally distributed. That's not research. And research questions describe the data and move. Okay. Inferential statistics. The main thing. We are going to talk about what? How to test the null hypothesis. Basically, we talk about parametric tests here. We have our hypothesis, we will use to have it. There is no significant difference. Alpha value still remains 0.05. Then we choose the statistics to use and we run it, and then we make a decision. So that's what we do. And then, when we have only one sample, like in this case, I will show you the hypothesis of Sumaya. She had one research question, but 3 hypotheses, 3 or 2. I will show you. So, one sample test. In this case, you have only one sample in your research. In the case of Sumaya, she had how many samples? 2. The male and then the female. So, in this case, one sample test will not work for her, isn't it? But you will see how it will work for her. The one sample test is more explained. If you look at minimum wage, for instance, now, the minimum wage in Nigeria, they say it's 70 what? 75 or 77 or 72, whatever. 77,000 or 75,000. But sorry, everybody else from Nubamali will take. I like to use that example. The last time I was in class, so Nubamali lecturer told me there are some lecturers that pay 66,000 as their salary. So that's the revenue for research. You will want to know whether there is a significant difference in the salary they receive in Nubamali as compared to the national minimum wage. This is go to Nubamali, samples of lecturers, Mr. A, how much is your take-home salary? You write it down. Mr. B, take-home salary. Or you go to the boss, collect their pay. A sample. Let's say there are 500 lecturers there, you can pick 200 for instance. Now that particular sample, you can calculate the mean salary for all the lecturers there, and you can compare with the national minimum wage. And from here, you can now conclude empirically that you are being surchanged in what? In Nubamali, because there is a significant difference between your salary and that of the minimum wage. So the actual people, they are sued because they can use this argument to fight for improved salary payments. Anyways, so that is one sample. You have only one sample. The independent sample teachers, this one you must have two samples, and the samples must be independent. Then also have the peer sample where you are comparing my data sets at 2 points, between point 1 and point 2. You will be using one sample, but you will be collecting data how many times? 2 times. Okay, let's go back to Zaria. The first hypothesis Sumaya had was there is no significant difference in motivation to learn mathematics among secondary school students, okay, as compared to the theoretical motivation learning. As compared to what? Theoretical motivation learning. So in this case, according to the literature from psychology, profs are mentioned, they are entering into your degree now. Yes, man. So according to some psychology, they say the theoretical motivation level is what? Is 50. Now, so when I want to compare the mean motivation for all the students, regardless of the gender, and compare it with the theoretical. How do you do that? You go to analyze, that's what I did here. Compare means the one sample teachers. We are going to mix now. Let's have it. So you come here, then you come to analyze and decide. Then you say what compare means. Then you pick what? One sample teachers. One sample. Our test variable is student motivation. You put it here. Then this is where you now put the test value, the theoretical mean. So 50. Just type here 50. As simple as that. Then you run the analysis. Boom! All of a sudden, you have the answer. Oh, how easy life is now. So you can see from the table, the second table, one sample ticket. You have the T value minus 0.208. You have the degree of freedom to 50. You have the SIG, that is your P value. That is your what? Your P value. The P value is 0.835, which is far greater than 0.05. So that means you fail to reject the null hypothesis conclusion. You fail to reject the null hypothesis. So that means the motivation of the students in Zaria metropolis is not significantly different from the theoretical motivation. Okay? Okay. Okay, so then we make our conclusion and then we are fine. So that is what Sumaya did and report that as our hypothesis 1. Okay, and this is how you report it. This is how you report it in daily formats. I put that as a sample for you. Hypothesis 2 says there is no significant difference in motivation to learn mathematics among male and female, the points of interest. She wants to know whether the male motivation is significantly different from that of the female. You are going to use this time around independent sample t-test, and then the part is analyzed, compare these independent sample t-test, and then you are fine. So you come to your SPSS back to SPSS. You see, each time I come to SPSS, I come to this data set. Very important. So and then analyze the results, compare it, this time around independent sample. Then you put motivation into test variable, and the gender you put it into grouping variable. After putting it into grouping variable, you need to define the variable. Tell SPSS what groups you are using. In this case, I'm using group 1 to be 1, and then group 2 to be 2. Then you click on continue. Alright? Then you click on OK. Then you have the T independent sample T test label. The first table is about 36, 36. While the second table is what we need. Some people may say an assumption of parametric test is homogeneity of variance. We don't usually bother about it because most inference statistics automatically will give you homogeneity of variances. In this case, look at t-test. When you assume that the variance is equal across the two groups, and when you don't assume, pick anyone you are fine. Look, you look at t value. T value, it is not t calculated. The error of t calculated has gone. We are like the error of what? T value. So the t value is 12.279. The degree of freedom, that is df. That is 139. Then the p value, which you are going to compare with alpha value, the p value is going to be 0.000. That is your p value. In SPSS, if you have 0.000, according to APA 7th edition, you should not report 0.000 in your write-up. Rather, you should replace that with less than 0.001. Whenever SPSS, I'm saying it again, whenever SPSS display 0.000, in your own report, in your chapter 4, in your abstract, in your whatever, you should not report it like that. Rather, you should report as less than 0.001. Take note of that. So you see when we are reporting. And because this is less than alpha value, what we are going to do, we reject the non-hypothesis. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. The males, they are more motivated than the females, according to this research. This is why I will not see. Alright. So this is where we are. Then we see continue to the third hypothesis that we are. You see, maybe it's not their motivation. Let me see what will happen. After some certain amount of duration, days or months, Sumaya went back to those kind of students, the same set of students, and gave them again the motivation questionnaire. In this case, each student is having two sets of data. The one for the experiment and the one after a period of time. You will also want to know whether they retain the motivation level or not. In this case, you'll be using peer sample t-test. Sumaya did that. For the data set, let's go back to our SPSS. Again, we come here. You see, that is the data set where you have motivation P here. This motivation P, if you expand this, sorry, you will see what is written there. More expansion is coming. Look, students' motivation to learn after a term. After one term, Sumaya went back to the same set of students, gave them again motivation state. I want to know whether their motivation level has changed or not. In this case, she is using peer sample t-test. I'm doing that right away. We come to again compare it. In this case, now we will not be peer sample t-test, not independent again. Then you click on that. Alright? For those of you that have two-year sample T-test. So we have the motivation at the time of the experiment. We put the 0.322. The standard deviation is given. P-value, look at it here, minus 6.324. The Q of freedom is 40, that is n minus 1, and then the p-value is 0.000. All right? Okay, so then the p-value is 0.000. So that means you need to reject the null hypothesis. So actually, after one term, the motivation of the students has what? Even improved. Look, before the term it was 58, but after the term it was what? 68. So the motivation of the students has what? Has improved. And the difference is significant enough according to the statistics. So this is fair for another graduate student. So Sumaya was very happy, and then she graduated in flying colors for an undergraduate degree. Sumaya comes back for masters. Let's see. All right. Sumaya is a master student. This time, the difference may not work again. She has to reframe her topic because now she's coming for an advanced degree. Now the topic is reframed from what it used to be something like this. But you know, Sumaya, she's still very much interested in motivation. And this time around, she's adding performance of the student. So if you have your school types, the type of school you go, whether I'm in secondary school, the type of school you attend, whether you attend private school, public school, or mission school, is there any difference that will that affect your performance or will that affect your motivation? That is the topic. If you have your school type or motivation and performance in mathematics, sorry, I'm being biased. Because Sumaya is a student from mathematics education. This is a topic, master topic. You may be thinking now, maybe we have some P25 here that have not decided on which line of research to follow. If this is related to your field, you can change the school type to something else. You can pick other variables that are related to. And then this will give you a kind of structure on how you can go about it. At least you get something out of this seminar. So what happened? She has 4 objectives. You know, at master's level, you need at least 3. Professor PG sir. At least 3 objectives. Yes, sir. So as you can have 4 is a bonus that is good for you. So what happened here? Look at the objectives, nice objectives. Investigate the effect of school ties on motivation. Examine the effect of school ties on performance. So where is going back to the gender? She's going back to the gender. Investigate the interactive effect of school ties and gender on motivation. Investigate the interactive effect of school ties and gender on performance. So she's very much maybe prof will quote Sumaya in the research group. So she's studying gender a lot. So this is what we have. Now, of course, when you have your objectives, you also need to have your corresponding research questions. She has 6. 6 research questions. Each of them operationalizing the objective. The first one, what is the difference in motivation between public and private? Second one, you have to be smart. PG student, you have to be smart. They say you must have at least 3 objectives, at least 3 research questions or something like that. I think there is a correlation between objectives and research questions. So you need to find a way to break down the objectives in such a way that you equate the number. So that's what Maya has done. What is the difference in motivation between what? Private and public? Motivation, public and mission. Motivation, private and mission. Only one objective is broken into 3 research questions. The first one. The second objective is also broken into another 3 research questions. Okay. Now to answer these research questions, you are fine. You can use your chart. Build your charts and then you are okay. Maybe I should answer one, but but Sumaya has hypothesis too, which I am more interested in doing. The hypothesis there now 8 hypotheses. 8 from 4 objectives to 6 research questions and then to 8 non-hypotheses. So by implication, it is not a must that the number of objectives should be the same as the number of research questions should be the same. No. It will not be so. Take note of that. So every commission. So one objective is broken into 3 non-hypotheses. The second objective is broken into another 3 non-hypotheses. And then the third objective is standing alone. There is no significant interactive effect. There is no significant interactive effect of gender or performance of gender and school type or motivation. All right, we are more interested in testing. Now, open question. There is no reward for getting the answer. Non-hypothesis or problem we want to give you. Non-hypothesis 1. Which statistical test I'm going to use? We are listening. There is no significant difference between mean motivation to learn, mean motivation to learn between public and what? Private. 2 groups, right? Which type of independent sample test? Excellent. I will show you. The second one, again, independent sample. One, independent sample. And then up to the 6th one. What about the 7th one? Independence will not work, right? It won't work, or will it work? It will not work. That is what Sumaya did. But fortunately for Sumaya, at the proposal level, there was one educational statistics in the team who corrected her that this that you have proposed will not work. T-test will not work. How and why? You see, you can do T-test for 1, 2, and 3. But when you do that, you will be applying T-test how many times? 3 times. But that particular hypothesis 1 to 3, you can use ANOVA. You can use what? ANOVA. Using the school type as independent variable against the what? The motivation. And when the ANOVA is significant, you can look for the post-op pairwise comparison. So this objective will now be addressed. In this case, you will be running ANOVA once instead of running T-test 3 times. When you run T-test 3 times, you are inflating your type 1 error. Instead of 5%, you are moving to 15%. Take note, don't do that. And that is what the examiner told her. Good advice. Then Sumaya took to that advice. And let's see what happened. She ran ANOVA, one way ANOVA, which we are going to do now. Okay? To answer, to test hypothesis 1 to 3. Let's see how the beauty of ANOVA will come out from here. We come to ANOVA. Now we are moving beyond T-test. Like I tell my students, T-test is not for undergraduate students. Once you come for masters, you think of higher statistical test. So let's see how do you run ANOVA. You can do ANOVA at 2 places here. Either you use this place to do ANOVA under compares. See one way ANOVA is here. Or and choose multi-univariate. I'm going for this one for a reason. Okay? So when you click on that, you have this guy coming up to you. Then your defense variable will be your motivation. Put your motivation in here. Okay? That is fine. Then your independent variable, the school type, look at it. Then put it as fixed factors. What thing to do? Because we have now 3 levels, I can do post-op. So I click on that post-op, I push this one here. Then I have the option of choosing, you see, maybe some of you can say post-op, you say 2K, or you say Shepherd's test, but look at the options available to you. There are so many of them. You have LSD, you have the Bomberoni, you have the CDAP, you have the Shepherd, you have the TK, you have KD, Duncan, and so on and so on. Basically, we use popularly, we use either 2K or Shepherd. But you Shepherd if the number of students in the sample, they are not the same. In this case, they are not the same. The number of students in public are different from those in private, different from those in mission. So I can go for Shepherd as my post op. Something important I must put is I should put it right. Is effect size. Okay. That should come on that option. Effect size. You know, p-value will only tell you whether there is significant difference. Okay? But what is the practical significance? That is just statistical significance. What is the practical significance? Then effect size will tell you that. So in order to do that, I want effect size, all right, for this effect estimate of effect size. You check that box and then you are fine. Remember, I asked for post hoc and I asked for what? Effect size. Effect size is about the practical significance of your intervention, while p-value is statistical, and what we are interested in is that practical one. But unfortunately, quite a number of our students, they don't report that practical significance. So take note, don't make that mistake. You will be lucky or unlucky. All right, this is fine. Look, we have a very nice table for ANOVA. And we look at our school type. Look at it here, school type. Look at this roll. The p-value, that is SIG. It is also 0.000. It is less than 0.05, isn't it? That means you have to reject the null hypothesis. This is your F value. And look at the effect size, 0.41. That is telling you 41% of your variance in the motivation is being what? Explained by the school type. So this is okay. Now I want to do my hypothesis testing. This is where you now hypothesize. This is where you test your hypothesis. The post op. Look, private and public, see public here, versus private. The main difference is carrying an asterisk, isn't it? The p-value is 0.000. That means students in private school, their motivation is significantly different from that of what? Public school. And if you go up here, you will see that the private school, they are actually having the highest mean. Do we have it? Oops. We don't request for the mean. Okay? Then we should request for it, isn't it? Can't we? Okay. But you can still see it here. Let's request for it. Analyze, we come back again. General linear model, univariate. Remember, now this model, contrast, maybe I should leave this. Options. I can look for the mean here, display mean. Then maybe even compare mean effect SLC. I don't want to do less, just display the mean. Then we are fine. Then we click on OK. All right. So you can see the mean. They are format for us. For public school, the mean is what? 52. For private, the mean is what? 74. For mission, the mean is what? 51. Okay, so the private actually has the highest mean population. So now the difference, there is no significant difference in the motivation of students in public versus private. That is the first rule here. The p-value is less than 0.05. You are going to reject that null hypothesis. Mission. Look, 0.862. No significant difference. You will fail to reject that null hypothesis. What about private and public? Again, we got it. Private and mission. We have, look at private and mission. Private versus mission. The p-value is 0.000. It's less than 0.05. Again, you reject the null hypothesis. So the private school students, they are actually more motivated than the public school students. All right. This is what Sumaya did. She did this, and then she did it for 7 and 4 to 6. And then come to the interactive effect. Now we are talking of gender, and then we are talking of what? school type. So against motivation or against performance. Against motivation, we have now two independent variables. The gender, call it independent variable, no problem. Then what? The school type. Okay, against what? Motivation. We have two independent variables. You see the first time I mentioned one way and over because there was only one independent variable, school type. Now because we now have two independent variables, we will call it two-way, and remember motivation is only one, right? So we are going to run two-way and over to test analysis 7. Gender versus school type against motivation. Gender versus school type against performance analysis 8. You are going to run two-way. Aha! Okay, let's do that. Let's have it. Okay, you come to your data set, and then you come to analyze. Are we there? Again, generally now we are like this. Okay, now initially I put only school type here. Now I'm going to add gender into the fixed factor. You see, anything in the fixed factor it must be categorical. Anything in the fixed factor must be what? Categorical. Take note. So this is done. Okay, just run it. You run it. So instead of one way, now you have two way. Look at this nice table. Can you now see school type multiplied by or asterisk gender? Can you see? That is your interactive effect. Where gender is modulating the effect of the school type on motivation. Is this significant or not? Yes. For motivation, it is significant. So gender actually plays a significant role in the motivation of students. Okay, nice, we are good. Are we okay? So you can repeat the same experiment and the same procedure for hypothesis 8, and then you are fine. Now, Sumaya did it and came for, she did internal, she passed, and then she came for external exam. At the point of the external examination, then the story changed. Yes. The external examiner was curious about one thing. Said to Maya, yes sir, you have looked at the type of schools that the students went against their motivation and performance. Students from private, public, and then mission. Don't you think that the socio-economic status of the parents will affect their motivation to learn? Look at that question. And when you compare the parents that send their children to private secondary schools, to some extent, they are not willing to they are not willing it much. So yeah, we know that have their children in public school. Because the socio-economic status is a bit higher than those who send their children to public school. And because the socio-economic status is different, they may have computers at home where the children can start some other lessons on YouTube, which will affect the motivation and also the performance. Even for saying that my father is a professor, alone, that can motivate a child to do well in school so that he can become a professor. Alright, so this is the point at which the external examiner really is hard on Sumaya. And he said he cannot allow this defense to pass. So Sumaya must go back, collect data and socio-economic status of each of the students, and then introduce that into the analysis that she has done. The examiner is wicked like that. No, don't say you have to be precise. You have to be objective. Okay, but the external game is not than me. You don't have to reappear for external examination. I give you 6 months to do this. Once you are done, just send me your thesis, and then you can talk to your external examiners and you can go on. And that's what happened. Sumaya went back to collect data set on socio-economic status. In this case, we have a baseline variable which is continuous. Now we want to introduce that into the analysis she has done before. The test must change from ANOVA to ANCOVA. Analysis of covariance. The test now must change. You must take care of the baseline variable that will affect the outcome variable. So in this case, she had to run ANCOVA. How do we run ANCOVA? Very simple. Very simple. You come back here, again, you pick your analyze, alright? You come to general linear model. Now, see, I want it for the first one alone. Let's remove gender for now. Only to time. This is another setup. For me to include socioeconomic status, look, the data set is there. Alright? Socio-economic status. So you take this into covariate. You take it into what? Covariate. Let me come down to popular research in the experimental research, in which you are given pre-test, post-test. Quasi-experimental. You have two groups. You give pre-test, you give treatment, and you have post-test. Look, your design it has made to pre-test completely, because you must take care of the pre-test in the analysis of post-test. So the minimum statistical test is supposed to be ANCOVA, not t-test, not ANOVA. Take note of that. How do you run ANOVA? You can ANCOVA, you don't. That's your pre-test. You will put it under covariate. Okay? Your dependent variable will be there, your independent variable will be there, and you run it. You run it. You run it. Just okay it. And then you have it. So this is ANCOVA table. Okay, what is the difference now? We have our school type. It is still significant. Look at CS 0.091. It is not significant because it is greater than 0.0. So better examiners actually suffer this girl for nothing. But that economic status, it is not contributing substantially. But it is fine. So Sumaya, she took to her face and then she reported it. I mentioned at the beginning of this lesson that I'm going to mention Sumaya for not less than 50 times. I think I'm on track, right? So let me have to make conservative. Alright. So this is how to run ANCOVA. So ANCOVA is used when you have an underlying variable. You know it affects your outcome. So you can incorporate it into the analysis using this method. Alright. So we are good. So similarity is fine. Okay, a quick one. We have two-way ANOVA and a right ANCOVA. Remember in two-way ANOVA we did now. I said the variables there must be categorical. And that is the difference between the main difference between ANOVA and two-way ANOVA and the ANCOVA. Let me go back here. Are we okay? Look, here we are. This is the table. If you want to do ANOVA, you come here. One way, two way, three way, you come here. If you want to do ANCOVA, you come here. We also have one way, two way, three way, ANCOVA. See, under this factor, the variable there must be categorical. Okay? If I put another categorical variable here now, okay, I'm running two-way ANOVA. But if that variable is continuous, and I put any on this place, this formulate, the variable there must be continuous. If I put a continuous variable there, it's now turned to ANCOVA. Because I have two variables here, it becomes two-way ANCOVA. I can run this one too. I don't give it the interactive effect. Okay? Look at it. The interactive effect has come out. Look at it. And then we are fine. So take note of and she did. All right. I should congratulate Maya. Yes, she's not talking. She's coming for PhD in mathematics education. You know the Nigerians now, you know the carry last. And now we take us to the world of non-parametric model in which Maya did. Alright? So in this case, the assumptions of normality is validated before you can use. Remember, at the beginning when we explored the data, we said we had two choices. Either we go parametric line, we have no parametric line. Or we go non-parametric line. Okay? So non-parametric line is here we are, in which you have this test as non-parametric parametric one. Independent sample t-test. The non-parametric is Mann-Whitney. Peer sample, Wisconsin. One-way ANOVA, Kruskal-Wallis. Repeated ANOVA, Fred test. What about ANCOVA? What is non-parametric equivalent of ANCOVA? Anyone knows? No gift for getting it correctly. Okay, there is gift. What is non-parametric equivalence of ANCOVA? Man, Fred man, brilliant. Say it well. Oh, nice. Oh, one student. E24. Where are you? He said the class now. ANOVA, Manova. Exactly. Anyways, no one will give it. That question will answer it later. Hopefully, we get it. Student. Yeah. Investigating school types. Gender, motivation as predictors of admission status. And what? Performance in mathematics. I mean, university admission status. She wants to know how gender, how school type, gender and motivation predict whether your child will get admission into ABU or not. And whether your student will perform well. See, you will be designer. And these variables are practically chosen in such a way that we can cover all the types of regression. School types, gender, and motivation, they are your predictors, isn't it? They are your predictors. Why admission status? Admitted, not admitted, 0 and 1 at good enough. And then as the performance, that one is continuous. So these are the outcome variables. She has objectives and she's fine with them. She can do small correlation. I want to skip this. I'm sorry about that. Answering the question, what is the relationship? Okay, maybe we can just quickly do this. For this, I let us later on. Relationship between the two variables. You come to correlate. Blind validate correlation. She wants to know the relationship between gender, for instance, motivation and the performance of the student. So motivation will come here, then performance will come here. Take note here, I've chosen continuous variables. Motivation, performance is continuous. So you can get your correlation table and then you can know whether the p-value is significant or not. So look, the correlation is very weak, 0.0, look at it here, 0.070, and it is not significant between motivation and what? And performance. Alright? But at the level of the research question, remember the last time I mentioned that it's better to use charts rather than using statistics. Because you will run into a problem, especially correlation. There is no way you run correlation without giving you the correlation, the p-value, which is an element of inferential. So use charts. How do we use charts? You can have this graph. You can put the chart below. Then you have it here. You can use scatter plot. Can you scatter plot? Look at scatter plot is there. Pick any one of them. Double click, and then you can bring your remove this one or you reset it so that all these things will remove. Take a scatter plot. Double click. You are bringing your performance. Okay, here, and then bring in your motivation, you bring it here. All the other way around. Okay, to be the other way around. So because I'm predicting performance and I need motivation here, then I put my performance here. Then you run it. The starter block will give you something like this. You can see some kind of thing. Maybe you don't know whether it is positive or negative. You can double click to put a line of best fit. See a line of best fit here. Is a line of best fit. Look at that line. It is what? Going up. Isn't it? It is telling you the correlation between these two variables is positive. Is what? It's positive. So when one is increasing, the other is also. This is not telling us whether it is significant or not. And this is what we need at the saturation level. Whether significant or not, we go to hypothesis. Okay. Very interesting. But there is a change here, a little change. Look, we have what is the relationship between gender and then performance. What will be the corresponding null hypothesis? Who will say it? There is no significant relationship. Any other trial? Everybody is okay with that option? There is because what is the relationship? The hypothesis should be there is no significance. I disagree. Change the language. That is better for me. Remember, Sumaya is after using gender to predict what? To predict what? Why don't you say there is no significant predictive effect? There is what? Predictive of gender on. Oh wow. So when you say that you speak PhD, but when you say relationship, you just apply correlation, you will do. But when you now come to say predicting effect, you must do regression analysis. You speak PhD. So the descriptive correspondence to prediction is correlation. So take note of that. Okay. And I think Sumaya, she has good supervisors, and they advise her very well. She needs significant predictive effect. Or performance, or sometimes on performance. In this case, I'm predicting performance. The outcome variable is continuous. Okay, the outcome variable is what? So you can use Pearson, linear regression. But if the outcome variable is categorical, like addition status, is another thing. Well, okay, so at this point, we have to follow the list. So I pray that the committee will consider another session so that we look at it carefully from when Sumaya is starting her PhD. Okay, there are still more to come. We have item facility here. Let me show you. When we talk about the reliability coefficient. After you do all your research, you need to get instrument. You need to know how to calculate the reliability of that instrument. How do you do that? We're supposed to cover it. Also, your performance test, multiple choice, you need to do item analysis. How do you do item analysis? You need to cover it. So I think committee is here now. Then we need to apply, and then we have another session of this. So I just want to think I can leave you with this beautiful chart. No, maybe it's not very enough. The way you get the slides, you will appreciate it better. For those of you, the question I asked last time, the alternative to hangover is actually quartz. Can you see that? Or it's not there. Quartz hangover. Can you see it? Here. Quartz. Q-U-A-D-E. Can you see it here? Where I put my poster. So this is alternative to hangover. When the assumption of parametric test fail, how do you do that in SPSS? I've taken that one. I will not show you. I will take the SPSS. I will show you. But when we get another opportunity, we can look at it together. Thank you very much.
The second presenter, is he using this system?
Thank you very much. I expect us to please put our hands together. Without overstating, the business of imparting knowledge is a very serious one. So also the task of learning. Distinguished distinguished participants, we have a little adjustment today. If we have a program expecting to have the answer to our discussion, please permit us or cooperate with us. We are taking the presentation and the supporters, which will also be followed by the presentation and the introduction of the CGB researchers. And for this task to be carried, please permit me to invite Associate Prof. Nuradi S. Akolade.
Thank you, sir. Please, I want you to, I don't know, maybe I should ask you to stand up. I appreciate, but please, round of applause for the I will give you the please. Another impactful one, and on the sideline, I was sourcing the channel that the next series is supposed to come up. The next series is supposed to come up in October, and whatever program we have for that, I can't remember presently, but I'll check our archives. But we are certainly going to include data analysis 2.0 to research workshop 3.0. Please, we hope that the part of stuff that we are unable to let out will be let out. I have to invite my chairman to stand beside me to do this particular item. Please, at this point, we want to sincerely appreciate our supporters, and we have a couple of awards for them to be presented, and please come please. And for the presentation, I will be inviting the director Counseling Center and Human Development to also present awards to. Please step forward, man. The first award that we shall be presenting is to the Center for Better Education. The Center for Better Education, I can say, is the brain behind the research of 2.0. They started the idea with us. Please, the representative of Center for Better Education, please step forward.
Congratulations. Thank you for all the support.
The representative of the UBA, this Mr. Shepherd Akari, this please you can step forward. Mr. Shepherd Akari, this kind of person. And on the sideline, we have a stand at the back. In case you need an account, you can bring them, they can open an account for you. There is the zero startup account, we will do that. You don't need to pay anything. They will give you all the. They said salary account. Okay. Yes, sir. Someone said this our salary account is free. Thank you. Yes. Infinite Mobile, Miss Kafaya Abdul please step forward. Infinite Mobile. Infinite. Then for Nigerian Sudan, I want to invite Ms. Doris Chukuma to take their word on the radio. Please round of applause. They are the one responsible for the Coca-Cola that we are drinking today. Please round of applause.
This award of excellence to National Food, Beverage and Tobacco Employees. Thank you.
And the last one is the first one of Nigeria. Mrs. Chukwuka Doris will also take the award of the year.
This award of excellence is given to First Bank on behalf of the Research Committee. Thank you for the contribution and support.
Very good. Thank you so much. It's out of also at the beginning of this program, I mentioned that we shall be presenting 5 students who are going to be CBA reciters. Before we take the second lecture, I want to make sure we finish up this paragraph and we move forward. Okay. I think the guy is talking here. The first time they take the for application. This Bulgarian himself for introduction is Pamina who but if you have an applause for him. The next candidate is Abdi Yusuf Adibari, a nursing student. Choir and Sanusi Mahmoudi, please please, Director, don't be scared. The agenda balance. The next candidate is Aisha Ali. I hope she's here. And the last but not the least is Rabi Shehu Dalahatu, a PhD student of orgainized. So, Center for Better Education, on behalf of the Faculty of Education, following our memorandum of understanding that we are here to sign with and the meetings that we have heard, over time. These are the candidates based on the recommendation of the representative that have been selected to carry out research on your areas of interest and concern. Researchers, you are supposed to give them a thing of grant. Maybe it's going to give that grant. I, director of CD is present. We had a very tough time negotiating that. We are not rest on our words. That is still done. So they promise that they will take it.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the second session of the presentation, where I will be taking us on referencing and citation techniques. My name is Bello from the Department of Library and Information Science. By way of introduction, part of what we'll be talking about has to do with defining what referencing is. We'll talk about citation, obviously, then the differences between the two, and we'll also discuss why referencing matters in academic writing or in research. Then we'll have to discuss something that has to do with plagiarism. We'll also talk about common referencing styles. Even though we might not go into details of these common referencing styles, we'll make available the presentation for you so that we make close observations because it's quite best practices, if the time permits, and common mistakes. We'll conclude, and if there is room for questions, to allow you to ask 1 or 2 questions. Now, why does it matter? First, referencing ensures transparency, credibility, and ethical use of information in academic and professional contexts. So every claim you make in academic work must be traceable. It has to be traced to wherever you found it. And secondly, researchers to engage with resources, books, articles, reports, and online sources to build on the existing research. Engaging with existing knowledge. So there's that need to build on each other's work. That is what is referred to as, standing on the shoulders of giants. So you have to show where it started, because there's nothing you will research on at this moment that has not been, observed. So you have to show how it all started up to where we are. Mostly that's what we established using peer review, using literature. Now, the third reason why it matters is that proper citation protects against plagiarism. Plagiarism is a serious offense as far as academic writing or research is concerned. Why? Because it can end somebody's career. Plagiarism alone can end your career and it can invalidate your degree. And because of that, you have to pay attention to that. Now, these are our learning objectives. I don't think I will have to go over them. Hopefully, we'll be able to achieve it. And this is the roadmap. Part 1 will lay the foundation. Part 2, referencing styles in depth. If the time permits, then we'll have practical application. We'll conclude with the Q&A. Now, what is referencing? Referencing is the process of providing complete bibliographic details for all sources used in a work. Okay, referencing is systematic. It includes author details. There are needs for date, title, publisher, page numbers. All details a reader needs to locate the resource independently has to be there. Whoever is reading your work should have to give him the opportunity or the ability to locate your sources independently without asking them. So the bibliographic details have to be complete in such a way that your reader can be able to do that. Now, the purpose of referencing is to allow readers to identify and locate verified sources that support the writer's argument. Mostly, there's always an argument somewhere, and there's a need for you to support that argument by relaying information, that has to do with those sources that will help back up whatever argument you make. Now, the third, academic credibility. What is referencing? Thirdly is academic credibility. Accurate referencing help demonstrate scholarly engagement and support academic credibility and transparency. Journals and thesis examiners scrutinize references, and referencing applies to books and all these sources so that whoever is engaging with whatever work you're doing will be able to establish independently where those sources are coming from. So citation. Citation is an in-text acknowledgement showing source of idea, data, or quotation used within a document. So it tells the reader, what citation does is that it tells the reader of your work that this idea actually came from here. You're just pointing to where the idea is coming from. And citation are of types. We have narrative citation and we have the parenthetical citation. The narrative one is the usual that you say according to this, and you put in the date, and parenthetical comes after the statement that you have made. Now, without citations, ideas appear to be your own, which constitute plagiarism. So the origin of the idea is somewhere, but without citation, we will not be able to establish where the idea is coming from, and that in itself constitutes plagiarism. So part of best practices, consistency is crucial, and never make citation from one document. And citation must always match an entry on the references. There are two sides of the same coin. Now, what's the difference between citation and reference? Citation is brief, while referencing provides detailed listing of sources at the end of the document. And citation guides readers to reference. Together they ensure what we earlier talked about, academic transparency and source traceability, the ability to trace to where you're getting the idea you're talking about. And every in-text citation, I must emphasize, must have a matching reference, ensuring accuracy and avoiding academic penalties. Every in-text citation, I will say it again, must have a corresponding reference entry. Every reference entry must be cited somewhere in the text. Now, we have what's called open references, listed but not cited, or what is referred to as dangling citations, cited but not listed. They are both errors. A citation is simply a signpost on the road, A reference is the full address of the destination. Now, why referencing and citation matter together? One is to prevent plagiarism. Secondly, to enhance credibility, to enable verification, and to uphold academic integrity. These are the reasons why the two matter in academic writing. So it is expected to avoid plagiarism that you should cite even paraphrase ideas, not just direct quotes. Journals reject articles with poor or incomplete references, you should know that. And peer reviewers check your sources, so make them easy to find. Universities have honor codes. Violations carry serious penalties. Now, what's plagiarism? We'll try to talk about it as quick as possible. Plagiarism is presenting another person's idea or work as one's own without proper acknowledgement. The absence of citation and referencing together constitute plagiarism in academic writing when you're citing somebody's book or you're presenting an idea that is not your own, that seems to be yours. Now, plagiarism has a variation of forms. It includes direct plagiarism. It could be direct, it could be something you paraphrase, originally owned by somebody else. And the self-plagiarism, maybe you're copying for your own work. And accidental plagiarism. And again, there's nothing accidental when it comes to plagiarism. Now, it is not without consequences. Academic penalties, loss of credibility, and potential legal and professional repercussions as a result of plagiarism. So, proper citation and referencing protect academic reputation and uphold integrity and helps you, not to commit plagiarism. So, when you copy a text word for word, without quotation marks or citation, that's direct plagiarism. When you rewrite somebody's idea in different words or not citing the source, again, it is a paraphrasing kind of plagiarism. When you reuse your own previously published work without disclosure, that is self-plagiarism. And when you forget to add a citation or misquoting a source, unintentionally, even though it is unintentional, it is accidental kind of plagiarism. What I want you to note at this point is that intent does not matter in plagiarism. It doesn't matter. Accidental plagiarism is still plagiarism. So there are recurring tools these days. You have turning in, I'll just mention them, turning in, authenticate, and some kind of plagiarism checkers all over the place. But universities tend to choose from among them those that they feel, best do the job. Now, these are the common referencing styles. We have APA, the American Psychological Association style, we have style. We have Modern Language Association, MLA, Chicago, Arabian, and the IEEE styles. These are the common ones. We have numerous of them. And if the time permits, maybe we'll see some examples from these major referencing styles. Now, for the APA, okay, the style uses these are just descriptions about how it looks like, but I think the slide I presented has some examples that will show you what is expected of you for single author publication, the APA 7th edition. Whether you are making an in-text citation are referencing at the end of the work. So, like I said, this is something that we need to take some time and look at it slowly. Because of time, we just mentioned them, and the examples will be here, and we'll make the presentations available for our participants. Now, for Harvard references side, you can see the example as well. It uses author name and publication years and citations similar to APA. But always know that there are distinctions between these things, and it requires that you pay attention, you look closely, and be able to see the differences. Before now, we used to learn about these citations and references manually. You have to crank where the comma should be, where is the colon, and where is the date, which references are, this is 2026. We'll talk about it as it is, or as it should be in 2026 in our forthcoming slides. So, the Harvard references side, we have an in-text citation example where you have the name of the author, the year, and possibly the page, or it can be in another. The citations always have updates from time to time, and they keep changing. But thank God, these days we have a way to track it. We'll talk about that in due course. Now, for the MLA, it has its own peculiarities and what is emphasized. So each reference style emphasizes on something, and it has a formatting style, what comes first and what follows. It is expected of you to look at it critically, knowing the importance of referencing and citation to academic writing. Whatever it is, the analysis will be correct. Whatever you are doing will be equal. Referencing and citation is enough to mark a clear research, knock it down. So it is that serious. You have to pay attention to all of this and ensure that you adhere strictly to these regulations and procedures. Now the next one are just examples. I just try to make examples available for the APA references authors are concerned. You should know that when you're citing a single author, it's not the same as multiple sites, depending on what is expected of you, maybe by the journal or the institution where you're carrying out research. So 2 authors, this is how it should look like. If there are 3, as far as APA is concerned, 7 edition, that's how it should be. There are 4 authors, 6 or more. The key thing there, that's where the emphasis lies, is that APA 7th edition uses a tab for in-text citation to 3 or more, regardless of total author count. That's where the emphasis lies. Now, for the Harvard side, 2 authors and more. Okay, it has its own peculiarities, just like I told you. Know the difference. The key role, as far as Harvard referencing is concerned, is that it shortens the in-text citation, similar to APA. And once the source has 4 or more authors, practice on listening in the references by the institution. That's important. Same goes for ML. Multiple authors. When you're citing in-text for multiple authors, and when you're making a reference at the end of the key rule is that NLA, 9th edition, is only the first author followed by the in-text. For any source within 3 or more authors, for in-text and in the work cited in. For Chicago and Moravian, these are the examples. We're supposed to go through this in detail, in great detail, but because of time and emphasis on As to rush it a bit, we'll only display these examples, and like I promised, we'll make them available to you so that you can take a closer look at them and see what these citation styles, are used differently across fields. There are certain fields that use a particular referencing style, and others, other style depending on the need. But these are the popular ones. Now, techniques for effective citation. One is direct quotation, which uses an author's exact words requiring quotation marks and page numbers for accuracy. And even quotation is dependent on the size of what you quote, okay, and number of words. Then they set ideas in one's own words, while still citing the original source, showing comprehension. When you're summarizing, you're condensing larger information to concise overviews, maintaining the source citation. So paraphrasing is not an excuse to avoid citing, and you must always cite even paraphrase ideas. Now, building a reference list requires that you collect complete source details so that whoever is reading your work can be able to connect to the source that you're citing. Follow referencing style, alphabetical arrangement to arrange reference entries alphabetically to improve clarity and ease of lookup, but that is dependent on certain stuff. For example, ABA emphasizes on. Now, there's a need for you as a researcher to always cross-check these citations. Whether you are using a tool to create them or to use them, referencing and citation, there is a need for you to ensure that you check them well enough. Because any mistake in that situation has no excuse. So missing volume, issue numbers, wrong capitalization, inconsistent italics, you don't do these things as you wish. You have to make sure that whatever you're doing, there's a reason for it, as it is in alignment with whatever style you're using, depending on what is required of your tool. So missing DOIs, digital object identifier, UI, these are the most common reasons for marks being deducted in academic submissions. You don't just assume that you just miss them, it's an innocent mistake. There's no such thing. Just plagiarism. So you have to read between the lines. Now, there are citation tools. I said we are in 2026. If you are a student, master's student, or PhD in 2026, and you're still doing citation and referencing manually, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know what to say because I don't even know how to explain what you're missing. It's just like what Dr. Zaria said, that, boom, boom is there, boom, you're there. So instead of you to say to yourself the state of command, full stop, capitalization, so on and so forth. Three autos, multiple autos, single auto, in whatever position of writing, whether it is at the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of a paragraph, or at the end of the paragraph. The software takes care of everything. Maybe in our next sessions, they will make provision for us to talk about one of these citation style guides and software, because that's the aim. Nobody does citation and referencing these days manually. And these tools come handy with benefits of automation, and there are needs for responsible use. And whatever it is, whatever format you intend to use based on the journal or the requirement of the institution, the software is there to take care of everything. So you don't have to stress yourself as the only thing is that no software, no referencing software is perfect. That you should know. And at some instances, it hallucinates or creates some things that are not there that you're expected to fix, manually, not so manual per se. But when there is a problem, you should be able to identify, to notice that there's an error somewhere, there's a bug somewhere, and you should be able to fix it. And that brings us back again to the need for you to be conversant with this citation and referencing, styles, manual. You have to take a closer look at it so that when you're using the software and there's a problem, you should be able to notice and make the necessary corrections. Now, best practices and common mistakes. Effective referencing practices cite every borrowed idea, maintain accurate records, and use one consistent referencing style. You can't mix it. So cite every borrowed idea, quote, paraphrase, or summary. Keep records from the very start of your research. Use one consistent referencing style throughout your journey. So the common mistakes are, I put in my words, so I don't need to cite. That's all. Incomplete reference, auto-listed numbers, no DOI. Or wrong formatting using MLA format in an EPA. So you have to, you're in trouble. The methodology can be fine, everything is fine, your calculations are intact. Referencing and citation are good enough to cause no problem, not just for the work, but for your reputation as an individual or as a researcher. So I think I was able to meet up with the timing that they gave me, since we are somewhere around conclusion, and they need to ask questions. So finally, these are my references in preparing this. And what I want to emphasize at this point is that this slide list that I have just used, the style manual, sources consulted in preparing this presentation, modeling good referencing practice. That's what I'm trying. By example, so even your presentations are expected to have references because not everything there is entirely yours. The images come from somewhere, and the idea itself wasn't your own. So there's a need for you to acknowledge those sources and so even the presentation, just like I said, should be referenced when it draws an established standard. This reinforces the session's central message. Whatever it is that you do, once it is borrowed, you have to show where you're getting it from. And it has to be so detailed that whoever is using your work can be able to trace it back to that source. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. From inception, it seems as if I was trying to impress you, but no, that is what the analyst called instinctive weakness. I told you that seeing you, no one is left with a doubt in the mind that this is a scholar. And you have demonstrated from my presentation. Yes. Okay. So please let us all together once again to the second event. It is not easy talking about 20 years. You are all scholars, so you know what it is. If you have most presented paper and the references are checked to see that all the papers used, all the conceptual is used are of 20th year, you know that your mark is special. So I think that's what it is. So yeah. Now, floor of the participants, the question and answer session.
we have a tradition. What we do is we go row by row, we identify interested persons who want to ask questions, we give them a number, then we take it. Okay, for the first row. I have one here. Any other person here? Second row. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The third row. 4. Hold the number 5, 6, 7, 8. I think the chairman invested in the power. I think 8 are working. So let me begin by letting the floor open. First person to ask questions. The criteria is in and tell us who you are. You are who you are. Go send us your questions, make your observations, or comments.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ahmadu. I am from the Public Affairs Directorate for the Postgraduate Students at the Department of Mass Communication. First, my question and comment goes to Dr. White Zaria. First and foremost, I would like to commend you for your wonderful presentation, and I would like to further suggest that in subsequent sessions, that presentation should be brought back because data analysis should not be something we rush. Thank you. And however, my question is, in the course of your presentation, you mentioned we were taught that research missions are derived from research objectives. And if you happen to have 3 or 4 research missions, then the expectation is that you have 3 or 4 research missions. Then in the course of your presentation, you said you can have more. I mean, if you have 4 objectives, you can have up to 5 to 6 research missions. So how can we arrive at that? And in a situation where we are in a busy season and ask questions on how we arrive at that, how do we generate this?
There's the one. I was told that I skipped something. So probably like 2. This is the one.
Yeah, thank you for the good presentation from the presenters. My name is Ahmadu from Science Education. Who have been on. My question is to Dr. Zaria. I want to find out that if somebody is using SPSS, those tables and you plot the graph, how do you transport the graph? I think you have to work in Microsoft Word. How do you transport those charts from SPSS to Microsoft Word? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. T.
My name is Ahmadu from the Department of Sociology, Faculty of Social Science. My question goes to the second presenter, Ali. Sir, you've mentioned or you discussed about referencing the use of citation, but my worry is that what is the place of AI, artificial intelligence, the use and the place of AI in modern academic writing?
Good afternoon, my doctors and the presenters. My name is Ahmadu from the Educational Security Department. Alhamdulillah, my question has been asked by the first person because I do attend our seminars and we were told that the objective questions and hypotheses should be in line with it.
Good day to the presenters and my colleague students. My question goes to the second presenter, Dr. B. Sir, when I watched the
film or any program on the TV. And I wanted to cite it during my class presentation. So how can I do the reference? Thank you.
My question goes to the subject regarding plagiarism. Plagiarism and Pharisee. I want to know the differences between these.
Good afternoon. My name is Ahmadu from Human Kinetics and Health Education Department. So my question goes to the second presenter. So what about instances where you want to cite an author and the authors have the same surname? And we were taught that if you are citing the surname, let's assume Ali Musa and Ahmadu Musa. So we're to cite Musa. Are we to cite Musa or Musa, or are we going to cite Musa and use the initial data of the author, or how can we go about that? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Howard recording from the Department of Human Anatomy. My question goes to the second presenter pertaining the referencing style and the edition. Can the addition, maybe the edition be mixed in the references, maybe 7th edition and maybe a lower version of that particular edition? Thank you very much, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ahmadu from Federal University of Education. My question goes to citation. In-text citation was said to be unprofessional to cite an author at the beginning of a sentence or at the beginning of a paragraph. Please, how can you clarify this?
The last question.
My name is Ahmadu from Industrial Department. My question goes to the good presenter of the second speaker. My question goes as such. Among the listed type of plagiarism, which one will affect your work to be totally rejected? Thank you very much.
My question was to Dr. Bello. I want him to help us briefly explain how to use the citation software tools.
Well, beginning with the first method.
Thank you very much. All right, we have 3 questions. So one question was asked 2 times about the mismatch between objectives and research questions or hypotheses. I think at this point something is clear, and for every department in this university, we have styles that they follow. And then we also have the styles that the international community follow. So, and we must also make a difference between thesis or dissertation writing and articles or publications. These are also not on the same platform. The most or the style of writing thesis at Ahmadu Bello University can vary from one department to another, which can be maybe somehow different. I mean, the structure, where you have introduction, you have literature review, you have all these things until you get to chapter 5, chapter 6. Even from departments, this universities, while it's a faculty, there will be chapter 5. I don't know, maybe the maximum chapter is chapter 4, I don't know. But regardless, there are some research that you carry out that will require even hypothesis. Why some do not even require you stating the hypothesis? You don't need hypothesis at all. The number of hypotheses will be 0. You only have objectives, research questions. That is the end. Very simple research. Why, on the other hand, you will have research with just only one objective, which is called the purpose of the study, and you have several research questions. One objective, several research questions. So, then we go to the type of the research that you carry out. Is the research qualitative research, or quantitative research, or mixed methods research? So this also influences the alignment between the number of objectives and the number of research questions. We have seen an example today. This is an empirical evidence in mathematics. We call it a counter example, where in our department the norm is we have 4 objectives. Before your research is considered researchable, you must have 4 research questions. And you must have maybe 4 hypotheses. We have seen a counter example today in the case of Zaria, where she had 4 research objectives and then 6 research questions and then 8 hypotheses. So this is a counter example for anyone who say your alignment must be best at the departmental level, at the faculty level. If the paradigm is the number of your research questions must align with objectives, must align with, you have to control over this, you have to succumb to that. Yes, for this story. Yes, not transfer from SPSS to Microsoft Word. Unfortunately, I didn't find that not to do it. So that aspect where I told you can superimpose the mean standard deviation of bar charts. It will require you to move the bar chart to Microsoft Word and then to click the mean and standard deviation and put it on top of it. Then you screenshot it to get the analysis. So it is possible. Just click on any table or any figure, then right click, you will see option of copy. Just copy, go to your Microsoft Word, and then it is as simple as that. Click on it to select it, right click, you see option copy, copy it, and then another thing you can do is you can export the whole of the output. If you go to File, at the top left corner, you see option for export, and you can export in Microsoft Word. The whole output will be exported to Microsoft Word. Then from there you can pick what you need for the chapter 4, and then you start what you look like. I hope there is an answer to questions.
Thank you. Now the design.
Okay, I think I have about 6 questions, and I will take them, not in particular order. The first one has to do with the place of AI in academic writing. You know, in today's world, so the place of AI in academic writing, you know, the world of today, 2026, you cannot just brush it off that AI is of no, it's in almost all the software. What is clearly emphasized by giving institutions is ethical usage of AI. And you have to know the dividing line between using something ethically and abusing it. And that rests with you, it's your own responsibility to be able to know the dividing line between the two. It's always like that in the academia. So AI is here to face up again. And where students are using, they keep coming up. They are using it in a variety of ways. One thing must be very clear, your ability to know whether you're using it ethically or otherwise. There are instances and situations where you use these things and go away, get away with it. But one thing you should know, you should always have that at the back of your mind. Whenever there's a disease, there's a vaccine somewhere, maybe you don't know that the vaccine exists. It's already there. The vaccine was even the first that was in place before the disease. So don't think that you'll be greedy or when they say this is allowed by an institution. If, for example, if you should have, a document that explains to postgraduate students ethical use of AI, meaning what is acceptable to this university, what isn't. It's the same globally, and there are not two universities with the same rules that you should follow. So that rests with you, and putting it back to you that you should go back and take a look at those documents. If they are there, if they are not there, find them. And if you can't find them, there's what we call global best practice. So that you'll be on the safe side, whatever it is, the law or otherwise. Piracy and plagiarism. Piracy, you duplicating somebody's work and said, I will just use a book. Somebody has published a book, and without authorization, we decided to make additional copies. That's piracy. And plagiarism is academic writing, you're borrowing somebody's idea, depending on how you do it, you're paraphrasing, you're quoting directly without acknowledging the source. When you are acknowledging the source, not as it's expected of you. It has to be complete. Acknowledgement has to be complete. There's no room for error, there's no room for dodge, there's no room for anything accidental. Whatever it is that happens, when you look at the intent, you're just trying to copy somebody's work. You're supposed to be super careful as an academic. If there's anybody I know that must read word for word and try to find definitions, whatever it is that he used in his sentence, somebody that they. So you have to be very careful. That is why you have all the time in the world to take a look at these things and be sure that whatever that you're using that is not yours is properly used. So piracy, you're just duplicating somebody's work, while plagiarism, as a whole, piracy, plagiarism, idea in the text. Then the need for referencing and citation software or reference management software training, something like that. That's how I understand. There's a need for such a training, right? Is that what she said? Somebody talked about referencing management software. Now, when you have two authors with the same zoning, I think the second zone, the two zonings, that's a teaching work. Depending on the style. Now, if you want to send yourself the headache of knowing whether you're doing the right thing or otherwise, the reference management software is there. It updates itself with the newest latest edition as it happens very midnight on Christmas Day. It can update itself. You have no business knowing whether it's 7th edition, 8th edition, whatever. The software takes care of that for you, and once you use it as it is expected, everything will fall down. Then you must validate. You don't just use this thing because software gave you and we say you should use it, and you just do it to me. It's a lazy man. You have to validate. Then the need for you to know the factors of all these things as a game cover. Then citing at the beginning of a text, okay? That's dependent on lecturers and depending on what you want to do. Depending on the information that you want to pass in academic writing. there are situations where you want to start at the beginning of the paragraph or at the beginning of the sentence. It depends on your expertise. Expert writers can start anywhere and it will still be justified. But what is this point is that you don't just start citing somebody without saying anything. You didn't say anything. You're just starting writing. You started with the citation. Ordinarily, there should be an opening. That's the standard way of doing it. There has to be an opening, something that clearly the direction that you're trying to take. And it's after that opening that it is suitable, it's better for you to create back to show what you plan, either an argument or to support it, or to build on it, something like that. So I don't know whether that means something. Anything else? Yeah, what's that? Yeah, that has to do with referencing of your visual. Okay? I think that's for another lecture. The easiest way, okay? Let me give you an easier way. If you are watching something on TV and you felt that it is worth citing in your work, first thing you have to take note of the program, because the title of the program, which station is relaying the program, at what time, who is the anchor. You have to, get grip of some details. Afterwards, certainly the program might end up online. Once it is online, the software gets it down, detailed with graphic information, and you can cite it if you don't know how to cite audio visual. Everything will just fall in line. But again, you must validate. You must validate and ensure that the citation is accurate. That is what it says. Academics always validate. So I think these are the questions. Then there's another question that has to do with which software may be able to validate your entire research. I think plagiarism checker. I think plagiarism is just plagiarism, and you should do all you do to avoid plagiarism. As simple as that. So don't stop looking for which one is bigger. It's just like somebody that stole something. This one stole 20 naira, the other one 1 million. The thing is a thief. Even though these days we have a way of saying money laundering. Yeah. Thank you.
The distinguished participants at this point, we have truly made progress as far as this workshop is concerned, and I would like to most respectfully invite the chairman whose power he vested on me. Otherwise, there are certain things that I am not supposed to do as an MC. It's the chairman's work, which has agreed that I should carry on. So, permit me to invite for his closing remarks the chairman of the Cities Committee, who operates as a deputy for education, PG. No. Mr. Chairman, Postgraduate Workshop Cities Committee, Dr. Haruna Mohammed, to give us the closing remark, and I'm sure my sister, Dr. Ahmadu Umahaba, is set to give the vote of thanks. Then we take the set of closing prayers. Then we take only national anthem.
Thank you very much, MC. Good afternoon,
ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Deputy Faculty of Education, Postgraduate, Associate Professor San Shewe Akoredi Nurudi, members of the Faculty of Education Workshop Committee, the participants, good afternoon once again. I would like to register my ineffable gratitude and wholehearted appreciation to the presenters for this wonderful presentation, which you will agree with me that they have done justice to the topics given to them. They have taken their time, they have shared their expertise in those topics we have given them. And I want to assure you that in the Faculty of Education at Bello University, Zaria, we have a lot of their lives, and we shall be leveraging on their expertise to continue to bring about facilitation in subsequent presentations. Not only that, due to the fact that we have just observed that we don't have ample time for the two presentations. In other words, the two presentations should have been given more time for us to learn more from them. This has compelled us to actually reschedule our program to now shift the next quarter's presentation. You know, next quarter we are making it quarterly. So the next quarter is supposed to be, other presentations, research methodology and others. But due to this recognition of the importance of giving them ample time to share this knowledge hands-on with us, we have so decided that we shift the next quarter's presentation, and now we take quantitative data analysis, and we give it the whole day. And we're going to make it hands-on in the sense that every participant is expected to come with his computer, SPSS installed, so that Dr. Zaria will take us hands-on, practical, step by step, and we all learn them. And again, the software Dr. Ali is talking about, and people are showing interest, we also would want to consider giving it another time so that it will also be hands-on. The idea is not just for us to rush to see we have done this or no. We want to ensure that the impact of this training is felt by all postgraduate and even staff and colleagues. I would want to tell you that we have equally learned from their presentation, and we shall continue to learn, and that is knowledge acquisition. They say if you stop learning, you start dying. We must continue to learn. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Zaria and Dr. Leo, both of them are international scholars. This guy is a first-class guy, and then the other guy is also first-class internationally. So you agree with me that the expertise they have shared with us this afternoon has indicated that this is a service to community. We are not giving you anything, it's just a service to humanity. And they say service to humanity is a service to God. So this is a service to God. It's a noble cause. Continue to do that. When we invite you, you continue to accept our invitation. Information, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to tell you that last quarter's presentation 1.0 was really a practical one too, but then the certification. Some people did not collect their certificates, so I want to tell you that the certificate for the previous one is readily available. Okay, it's readily available outside at the back, so you can collect it. And for today's presentation, if you are interested in the certificates, it's just a total of 2,000. This guy, our deputy son, Shewe Akoredi, is so benevolent that the training is free of charge, everything free of charge. But this one we say we must actually get the cost of producing those certificates. So just 2,000, if you are interested in this certificate, just a total of 2,000. They are readily available. You just pay them and then you collect the certificate.
the certification is so pertinent because we are academics, we want to reach our CVs, we want to tell people what we have done. Because at the contemporary life, what we do is to market ourselves, market our abilities. You don't just keep quiet while you have a lot of skills, you have a lot of expertise, and then you keep quiet. You have to market yourself. One of the ways to do that is by enriching your CVs, and certification is at the key, at the heart of it. We thank you so much for this cooperation, and we hope that next presentation is going to be more people will come, and then these guys will also take their time and give us the best out of their ocean of knowledge. Thank you very much. I wish you the best.
Thank you, Chairman. May I call on Dr. Ahmadu to give us the word of thanks.
Please.
Okay. Come to the end of today's program, and I want to appreciate all of us for sitting back. Special thanks to the Center for Girl Child Education. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. We appreciate your presence. God bless you. Special thanks to our facilitators. Thank you very much. And as I said, our certificates are valuable in time. We look forward to more insightful sessions. We still have a section on the AI tools for research. Subsequently, it's other series. We still have a section of research methodology, PowerPoint presentations, and presentation skills in subsequent series. So please be our guests as we continue. Special thanks to the DD. Thank you very much to the committee. Thank you, and we wish us a happy day. Thank you. And to public affairs, good one. Thank you to our MC. God bless you, sir. We appreciate. Thank you very much.
The Dean, Deputy Dean, the Chairman of the Postgraduate Workshop Series Committee, the Assistant Dean, other staff of the faculty, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, may I most respectfully, having come to the end of this event, request that you please rise. Say the closing prayers according to the dictate of our individual faith. Praise the Lord and thank Him for His mercy. Amen. May I request you please rise for national anthem. The group of program follows immediately. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And now we move forward.